So hello and welcome to this week's angling vlog. This week you join me out on the banks of the reservoir and we're in search of roach again. On a previous vlog we were over there on the dam wall and you join me on a rare day off work. It's a Monday morning and we've just made the first cast. We've been feeding a bit of hemp and a bit of maggot and a few grains of corn, and I have to say I've never seen the place so quiet. Not for anglers, there's quite a few anglers on, but for fish topping. Normally when it's this flat calm, it is black with fish all the way over. And today, it is very quiet, so it could be a hard day's fishing. You can just see that waggler sat out there now, and it's just over the shelf. And we're just feeding that bit of hemp, bit of maggot, and just hoping that that float's going to dip. And we'll be into the first fish. You can see one or two fish now starting to top, which is a good confidence boost, and hopefully we can draw one or two of them in. Just at the end of March, beginning of April, and yeah, we know the water's awake. We've just got to hope that we can draw some fish in. Can take a while sometimes, can take an hour, can take two. So I'm just going to start by just feeding the swim, taking it all in, chilling out, and just waiting for that waggler out there to dip. While we're waiting for the float to go under, we'll have a look at some of the tactics we're using today. We've got quite a bit of red maggot with us, got about a pint and a half. I'm hoping just to use that on the hook, but I am feeding about that much maggot each cast. Got some corn, I'm just feeding the odd grain here and there. If some better quality fish move in, we can start feeding that. And to begin with, this is what I'm feeding. It's Hinder's hemp, so I always have it with me. I'd say we're probably feeding about that much each cast. Obviously you want to attract some fish in. I am always positive when I'm on here, so you've got to put the food in to attract them in. Nice simple tactics. Got me keep net and the rod just sits nicely, length on that. The bait waiter from Cornham, and I use that all year round on the river. It just sits perfectly with the rod tip under the water, keeping the line sunk. And we've got the float out there. For those wondering, I've got my landing net behind me if we hit Mr. Carp. Most of the time doing this type of fishing, you just bring the roach to hand, but we have got a landing net if we hit anything bigger. So the key at the start is just to keep putting some bait in. If you're going to draw them fish into your area, you've got to put that bait in. It's a massive reservoir, and not going too mad. I'd say probably 15-20 grains of hemp. This time of year I'm not really too concerned about getting bites. Obviously a bite quickly is a good sign, but it can take an hour or two sometimes to draw them in. But the key is, once you draw them in, you've got a shoal in front of you then, and you can build on it. You can see there's plenty of fish topping, so got every chance of drawing in some fish into our area. The grebes have been working this inside margin, so it suggests that there's fish in all layers. So it is just a case now of attracting them into our area. So it's taken probably half an hour of feeding. We just got the first bite, and obviously it's always hard to get it on film because you don't know when it's going to come. But the first bite, I said, just putting that bait in, probably taken about half an hour, 40 minutes to come. First fish of the day, like I say, it's taken probably 30 minutes, 40 minutes of feeding, but good to get a bite. You can see there that's got marks on it again, and to be honest with you, I've fished this venue for a number of years. I don't think I've ever seen as many grebes working it as there is at the moment. There's at least 2 pairs on here at the moment, and they're working all the time. But it keeps the fish stocks healthy, hopefully. And I'm going to keep on feeding, just try and draw them fish in. There we go. Amazing how you go 40 minutes without a bite and you get 2 straight away, and that's just how shoals can arrive on your bait. And when you get into a routine with it, it is nice comfy fishing really. You'll just stood out here, got my thermals on so not cold, dropping the rod down, grabbing a few maggots, and obviously the closer we can get these fish to us, the better. Feeding that bait nice and positively. You can see the swans move in, and the key is to feed when they're not there. If they keep coming in and there's no food, they'll soon get fed up of it. So that bait's dropped down now far enough, they come in and there's no food. There we go. And all these fish are the similar size to what we got over by the wall, which hopefully isn't a sign that the venue's been hit by cormorants over winter, because it would be a real shame. And the key with it is, you've got to keep that food going in. To be honest with you, I'd rather kill the swim and not catch them little fish than take the risk that I didn't feed enough to draw them better fish in. You see there's 1 or 2 fish definitely arrived in the swim now. And even if we catch them all day, we'll have a nice net of fish. So casting in, putting the rod down, nice positive poucher bait. And some maggot over the top. Rod in hand and you're all set then for the bite. Ducks move in, no food, and they soon clear off. There we go. That's a perfect way to sum it up. That's exactly how we want it to work. As you've just seen on screen there, we've been getting plenty of bites. It seems to have taken an age for some better quality ones to arrive and stay, but just coming a little bit closer in and drawing them fish in now, starting to get 1 or 2 of these better quality roach. So that is a great sign to get a roach of that quality. Definitely the best one so far, and just feeding that hemp with less maggot. That grebe coming in the swim did kill the fishing a little bit, but I don't think it'll scare off things like that. So there's definitely a shoal of fish arrived in front of us now. It literally is a bite of chuck. I'm holding off a bit more now on the maggot, just trying to get some quality fish in the swim now. And hemp will always do that. Hemp is one of them baits that, you know, generally will attract better quality. By just feeding that hemp, it does feel like we are starting to catch just a slightly better stamp of fish as well. None of them little tiny ones are showing now, which is a good sign. And mixed amongst them are some of these pristine, what, 6 ounce roach? And I'm more than happy catching these all day. And I've said it a few times on the channel. I think growing up on the canal just gives you an appreciation for fish like that. Of course, it's great when you come on in, you're catching 8-10 pound roach. But I do think fishing the canal gives you that appreciation of fish of all sizes. And as a kid, I'd have been more than happy catching them all day on the whip. So those who watch the blog regular, it hasn't going to notice that I have started using hook links. Last year I started using these hooks to nylon for me chub and for me roach. Then I thought, well, in winter, why not use them for me silvers? When it's freezing cold on the river, these have been what I've been using. Just hook links, so much easier than tying them up on the bank. But yeah, these give me the confidence to use hook links, and now I use it in most of my fishing. So today I've started off on that one, and now we're using corn and double maggot. I've moved over to them. And you can see there as the bait falls through the water, you get a bite on the drop. You can see there as that shot just takes hold, and there's the bite. And you're just seeing there the float just sliding away. Another bite. You can just see here another nice roach coming to the net, and these have been the better quality ones on the day. So we are coming towards the end of the session now. There's only so long you can stand in a reservoir in March before you begin to feel it. But I really enjoyed it. I'm going to have probably another half an hour and stick out as long as I can. But really enjoyable fishing for roach on the Waggler. And fishing is all about putting together those little pieces that you learn along the way to try and get results. Sometimes it takes a couple of sessions, and today, most definitely upping the feed has really helped. Right, so the session does come to an end there now. As you can see from the final net, we've had plenty of bites on what's been an enjoyable morning on the bank. So of all the venues that I do fish on the channel, the venue behind me is definitely one of my favourites. Standing out there in the reservoir, catching roach is one of my favourite things to do. I really do hope you've enjoyed this week's video. If you have, please leave it a like and subscribe down below. All that remains for me now to wish you all tight lines in your own fishing, and I'll catch you all next week. Tight line.